Earth is a jail for all the souls that live here or not. I'm going to share with you my own point of view and perspective that I created through my experience with other planes and dimensions of reality. This video is not for you to tell you exactly what it is, but it's for you to make your own questions and connect to the discernment of your soul so you can find your truth. As I always say, I don't want for you to believe me. Instead, I want for you to question everything that I say and go into your best conclusions. Because at the end of the day, I believe is to think that something is true even if it's not. We call the 3D or the matrix a dimension where we think we are separated from God, the universal consciousness, the source, or however you wanted to call it. What in reality, we are not separated from God. Not only God is within us, we are God. We are the source. We are the universal consciousness because we are a fragment of the consciousness integrating information. Hello everyone, welcome to a new chapter of Elemental, where today we're going to talk about a trending topic. We're going to talk about if Earth is a jail for all the souls that live here or not. I'm going to share with you my own point of view and perspective that I created through my experience with other planes and dimensions of reality, experiences that I acquired through metaphysical and transcendental experience that allows me to have that information. To explain and give you my own perspective about this topic, we need to have clear that we all have an inner vibration, and that inner vibration is tuned to a specific frequency in the vast array of frequencies that exist in the universe. And that frequency is classified in a specific density of vibration. As is 7 densities of vibration, each vibration is going to make us perceive a dimension of consciousness, a different reality, a dimension of reality. In my previous charter, I left the link in here. I explained the difference between densities and dimensions and the process of assumption. What I'm trying to explain with this is that the vibration, your inner vibration, define your reality. Define the reality that you're going to manifest, the reality that you're going to project, the reality that you're going to perceive. If you are vibrating in the third density of consciousness, you only go to perceive or manifest everything that is in the third dimension of consciousness and inferiors. But you cannot reach higher dimensions of consciousness. That's why we call the 3D or the matrix a dimension where we think we are separated from God, the universal consciousness, the source, or however you wanted to call it. What in reality, we are not separated from God. Not only God is within us, we are God. We are the source. We are the universal consciousness because we are a fragment of the consciousness integrating information. So coming back to the vibration, it's like the part of the spirit, the universal consciousness, the source or God that you are is vibrating in a certain frequency that is classified in a density of vibration that is going to project a reality that you're going to experience in one of the dimensions that you had access with that vibration. Your vibration is the one that is going to create your reality. There is the important to know that your authentic free will is to handle your inner vibration because your inner vibration is going to determine what is the reality that you are perceiving. But now we need to enter into another concept because in the third density of vibration that we can only perceive the third dimension of consciousness, we experience time as linear, when in reality time could be linear, could be circular, or could be blend. So in reality, Time is only a perception depending on the vibration, the inner vibration you are tuned in which frequency in the basal rate of frequencies and in which density of vibration. But in the third density of consciousness that we just can perceive, the third dimension of consciousness, the cold matrix or 3D, where we are engaged with all that mental suffering in that triangle of Kahneman being the Kulwan, the savior or the perpetrator. We are in the lineal time, perceiving the past, the present, and the future. When in reality, the only thing that exists is the present moment. We don't vibrate the same way every moment. Every minute you are changing your vibration. And sometimes that vibration stays in the same frequency or moves to a similar frequency, or it can be in a higher frequency. For example, right now I am talking here, I am vibrating in a frequency probably between the third and the fourth density, but this morning when I was meditating, I was vibrating in a higher density that made me perceive higher dimensions of reality. So you are not vibrated the same, and you are not all the time in the same density of consciousness. And there is the key to know that Earth is not a jail for the souls. Of course, Earth is a place where we learn strongly, but we need to think of ourselves as like we are like computers processing all the information. So in the third density of consciousness that we can only perceive the third dimension of consciousness, we are moving in the lineal time and we are moving with all that jail that the ego provides. But it's not that someone wants for us to be there, because at the moment that I am saying someone wants for me to be there, what I am giving is the power to others about the only thing that I can control, that is my free will. And the free will is not the freedom to thought. The free will is the freedom to change your vibration, your inner vibration. And in the moment that I am saying, okay, this is a jail, I cannot get out of this jail. Why? Because there's forces stronger than me that they are maintaining me in this low vibration, so I cannot escape. But the reality is that every human being, we not only have the universal consciousness, the source of the spirit within. We are the spirit. We are God. We are the spirit. We are that universal consciousness, but we are a tiny fragment. The consciousness is experiencing itself. When you had certain experience that made you perceive another realities, another dimensions of reality, and you can understand that anything has the power to control your inner vibration. There's something that affects my inner vibration, like some foods, like some thoughts, etc. In your meditation, you can go to the past, you can go to the future, but at the end of the day, the only thing that exists is the eternal present. If I am here, I am talking to you, so I am projecting the reality so you can understand, and you are here listening to me. So you are connected to a vibration that is allowing you to understand or to listen this information. But in other moments, a spontaneous transcendental moment or an epiphany, or for example, you take a medicinal plant, what your vibration is going to do when you enter into this altered state of consciousness, or however you wanted to call it, what is happening is that your vibration is start to get elevated so you can perceive higher dimensions of consciousness. And you can think that you are talking with your spiritual guides, but those are you. It's you in a higher level of consciousness, because from the fifth density of consciousness, we can perceive the sixth dimension of consciousness, and there we can merge our consciousness with other beings. They are part of the same consciousness. That's why we say we are one. That's why we say we are brothers and sisters, because we are not separated, because the source is not only within us, it's us. So I can project the reality that I decide. But of course, it's not that easy because depending on the densities, we have certain levels that we are passing. Those levels is only information that I am processing, information that I am integrating. Because imagine that the source in the process of fragmentation divide itself into millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of fragments, and you are one of those fragments that now we are coming back in the process of assumptions, because everything is an alpha and an omega, is the spiral of consciousness. Everything is a continuous reborn. Coming back to the present moment, the thing is that you have the capability to experience that present moment that you are experiencing all the time. The only thing is that the third density of vibration, it moves you in a low vibration with the ego. It sees strongly, and the ego makes you think that it sees a past, a present, and the future. But when we move to the fourth density of consciousness, we start to experience time in a different way. We start to experience time in a spherical way. So I can access to moment of the past, and that's my present moment during a meditation, for example. And we think that we cannot change past, but the reality is that we can change past because we can change the way that I see my past. I can make peace with it, and that will change completely what we call the future. That is no more that another present that doesn't really exist. That's why nobody can predict the future, because everything is an eternal present. So again, if I go to a meditation and I had a visualization of the future, what I visualize is a probability of one of the possible futures that could happen in that future present moment. An example too can change the past is, for example, what happened to me. I suffered sexual abuse for one of my cousins when I was young, and well, I couldn't change what he did, but I can change how I said that. I can change the way that I relate with that experience, and that is changing your past and coming back to the present moment, the only one that exists. So when we are vibrating in the fourth density of consciousness, we are perceiving the fourth dimension of consciousness, and many people call the astral plane because it's when we experience the four body shape, the astral body. And also we can perceive the fifth dimension of consciousness. That is a dimension where we had contact with our spiritual guides, with angels, and of course a dimension with less pain and suffering. And it's not because pain and suffering stop to exist. It's because we change the way that we approach pain and suffering. When we are vibrating in the fourth density of consciousness, we are out of that triangle that I told you before, that mental suffering between the cure one, the saver, and the perpetrator. We go through pain, emotional pain. We don't avoid it with drops, with thoughts, with addiction, etc. We just experience what we need to experience, because at the end of the day, vibrate high is to embrace everything that you need to embrace in that present moment. Your conscience is going to evolve with your presence in here, to understand that we are all the time in the present moment that we need to experience. Could be in the third density of consciousness, perceiving only the third dimension and feeling that I are completely separated from the other, or could be in the fourth density of consciousness where I know that the other one is a reflection of me, that is also a projection, that is part of me, and I am projecting, and that person is projecting on me everything too. So we can learn who we are through the mirror of the other. After explaining this, I want to let you clear that, in my opinion, in my experience, in my own perspective, think that Earth is jail, is giving power to others. There's no doubt that there's people in here on Earth that they want to control everything. But at the end of the day, they are just doing their job, the same that I am doing mine and the same that you are doing yours. And well, I'm not going to give them the most precious thing that I have, that is my free will. That is no, as I say before, the freedom of thought. Now, my free will is the capacity to change my vibration and go to elevated states of consciousness, because my spirit, the fragment of the spirit that I am, is going to project that reality. Everything is a projection of consciousness through my inner vibration. If I give the power of my inner vibration to other, in that moment I get down completely. I lower my state of vibration in the densities of consciousness, and I start to proceed lower dimensions of consciousness. And sometimes needs to happen. Don't worry. It happens to me and it happens to everybody, because at the end of the day, this is a training. What I'm trying to explain, and I don't know if I'm explaining very well in English, is that giving your power away is to think that this is a jail and that you don't have escape. And like every conspiracy theory could be real, couldn't be real, but every conspiracy theory is telling you that you are giving the power to others. And I'm not saying that every conspiracy theory is not a reality, because, well, there's things that harm our vibration. We know that now, certain foods, vaccines, and other things. But at the same time, you need to know that you are an infinite being that can connect at every moment with the frequency of God, not only within you, the frequency of God, that is you. And that's the power that you need to rise, the power to handle your vibration, to don't allow others to handle your vibration. In the moment that we say that we are here in a jail, that this is a criminal space for lost souls, well, we are given the power to others. And in reality, we have the same thing that our higher self, but in a different state of vibration. And sometimes my present moment is experiencing this. Sometimes my present moment is experiencing my higher self. Sometimes my present moment is experiencing another life that is parallel, and that's for another video too, and things like that. And well, the good thing about to elevate our vibration to the fourth density of consciousness is not only that you're going to have the capability to get out of Earth, because that's probably what people say, because when we are in the 10th density of vibration and only perceiving the third dimension, we are still kept in the samsara well. But when we elevate our vibration to the fourth density of consciousness, it's going to come things like telepathy, like the impregnation of thought, connection of the emotions in a stronger level. Also, we're going to have the capability to decide if we want to come back here or not, because we're going to get out of the samsara wheel. And probably that is what is called a jail. But it's what I tell you. You have the power within, because you are the source. You are a fragment of the source, a fragment of God, to handle your inner vibration. We all need to learn how to handle that inner vibration, and I hope that this quantum jump into the fourth density of consciousness to proceed for the fourth and the fifth dimension of consciousness make us, create a new society with this kind of functions, so we can teach others how to handle your inner vibration in a way that you don't get affected, don't give the power to others. But at the end of the day, we are still rising that vibration in between those densities. So it's normal that at some moments, your present moment is staying in the pass still because you have something that you need to integrate, a shadow that you need to integrate in information. Mm, Another video that I recommend you is the video about the meaning of the spiritual pain, where I talk about how we integrate information that is super important to elevate your vibration. And well, with this, I hope that this information serves you well. If you have any question about this information or you want to know more, you can watch my other videos or you can buy my book where I explain about this too. And well, if you have any question or comments, please be respectful. Remember that what you are saying to me, actually you are saying to you. See you in my next chapter. Ciao.